the last 20 minutes of this film is exactly what film I wanted to see. Just Jason Statham versus Megalodons. That's the final 20 minutes of this film. But unfortunately, before the final 20 minutes of this film, we had to get through the first 2 acts, and holy shit.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to OZD's channel. I'm Jason Statham, and today I am going to review Meg 2, The Trench.
Sorry about my Jason Statham impression. It's pretty terrible. Won't happen again. But this movie is a sequel to 2018's The Meg, and this movie is directed by Ben Wheatley, and this movie stars Jason Statham, Cliff Curtis, and Jing. A research team encounters multiple threats while exploring the depths of the ocean, including a mining operation. Now, the first Meg, it's a movie that's nothing too special, but I enjoyed the first Meg movie for what it is. It's a 90s movie that somehow came out in 2018. I think it's a fun movie that knows exactly what it is. Jason Statham was fun in the movie. The Megalodon looks awesome in the movie. It's just a summer fun time. So, now they made a sequel to it, and to be honest with you, I wasn't too pumped for this movie. I just find the sequel very unnecessary. But from the trailers, it still looks like it's going to be a fun movie that knows exactly what it is. All I want to see is Jason Statham fighting Megalodons once again. And I gotta say, guys, this movie is just a ginormous disappointment and a ginormous letdown because, man, this movie got a lot of issues. But of course, there are some positives with Meg 2 The Trench. First of all, Jason Statham. He is the best part about this movie. He's definitely the only actor in this movie that really tries in the movie, and he does a great job with action sequences. He definitely throws down when he needs to. He is very badass in the film, and I would say the visuals in the film for the most part look okay. I do like the look of the Megalodons. They look ginormous and terrifying, and I would say the last 20 minutes of this film is exactly what film I wanted to see. Just Jason Statham versus Megalodons. That's the final 20 minutes of this film. But unfortunately, before the final 20 minutes of this film, we had to get through the first 2 acts, and holy shit, I have never felt so bored in a summer blockbuster in quite some time, because man, this movie is a gigantic bore fest. First of all, one of my biggest issues that I have with Meg 2 The Trench is that this movie has a gigantic identity crisis. This movie doesn't know exactly what it wants to be. Is it trying to be a Megalodon movie? Or throughout the most part about this movie is trying to be the spy, espionage, action, survival film with the Megalodons being barely in this movie. Seriously, the Megalodons in this movie are just there for the action scenes. Not even for a threat, just for the action scenes. Because throughout most of this shitfest, it's a generic action movie with a generic story with terrorist villains. This movie has nothing to do with Megalodons. Like, the Megalodons are nothing to do with the plot of this movie. It's like they're saying, let's just write this generic action movie. Okay, it's not gonna make money. Let's just make it a Meg sequel and just put the Megs for the action sequences. Oh yeah, let's hire the same cast from the original back, Jason Statham back, and we can make money out of it. That's what the Meg the Trench felt like. It just felt like the movie's trying to be this generic action film, but they want to make more money, so they decided to brand off the first Meg movie and make this movie as a sequel. Because this movie is seriously misleading. The trailers show a lot of Jason Statham just fighting off Megalodons. This movie, we only get that for like the final 20 minutes. The rest of this movie is just a spy generic action movie with characters trying to stop these bad guys for what they are doing. Which I hate when movies do that, like Jurassic World Dominion for example. Not focusing on what we want to see. Dinosaurs. This movie, we want to see the Megalodons and Jason Statham just kicking ass. This movie, we only get that quite a bit in this movie because this movie just turns into this generic spy action film. And the rest of the cast in this movie are so freaking bland and generic. None of the actors look like they wanted to be in this film, and I didn't care for every single character in this movie. Cliff Curtis is okay in this film. Jing is a complete idiot in this film. Just everyone in this film just felt so bland and generic. And yes, the Meg 1 doesn't have characters that I would remember either, but at least some of the characters I'm like, okay, they're fine. I felt attached, but in this movie, I didn't feel any of that. Except for Jason Statham, because he's freaking Jason Statham. And some of the action scenes in this movie, like especially the underwater scenes, you don't see what the hell is going on or who basically dies in the film or who gets like hit in the film, because this film has an issue with some of the lighting as well. The action sequences at times in this film, we don't know what the heck is going on. It's going for the Transformers shaky cam action scene, and we don't know who is getting killed or who is basically fighting who. Some of the action scenes are filmed mostly well, but scenes like underwater, for example, we cannot see what the heck is going on. And I just find the storyline of this movie so freaking boring. Like, the only aspect I liked in this film is the last 20 minutes, because it's a movie that we came in for. And also the creatures in this film. Yes, there are other creatures in this film. There's this like octopus monster thing that just came out of the middle of nowhere. Has nothing to do with the plot whatsoever. It's just there for basically the Meg to fight, which only takes like 5 seconds. Seriously, fucking 5 seconds. I feel like they're just there to be like, oh yeah, this is boring. Let's make it a little entertaining. Let's just put an unknown creature in the film for no apparent reason. And there are some other creatures in this movie where I'm just like, okay, are they completely necessary? I would only say the best parts about this movie, like I said, is the last 20 minutes and the opening scene that you've seen in the trailer with the dinosaurs. Those are the only moments that I would say they're okay, good moments. Yeah, that's not good. The story of this film is just so freaking boring. The acting is so generic. None of the characters are great. Even the villains in the movie are just one of the most forgettable villains that I have seen this entire year. We wanted to see Jason Statham versus Megalodons. Sorry guys, if you're excited for that, you're only going to get that in the final 20 minutes of the film, because the rest of this film is this generic action film that I honestly don't give a shit about. It just felt like something that I've seen in many movies before. Overall guys, Meg to the Trench was a huge letdown, and I would say this is definitely one of the worst blockbusters of this entire year. Jason Statham is definitely the best part about this movie. The final 20 minutes of the film is fun enough, but the first 2 acts of the film, the way this movie is written, is just so terrible and so boring that I didn't even care for every single character in this movie. I didn't care for the story. I didn't care for any of the creatures that are in this movie. The Megalodons look cool to see on the big screen, but they're barely in this movie, because this movie has a story of this generic action spy survival film. It just took away the Meg completely. Guys, I would say skip Meg the Trench. I think there's a lot more movies you can see. You can see Oppenheimer, you can see Talk to Me. Please skip Meg the Trench, because this movie was a huge letdown, and I'm going to give Meg to the Trench a D+. Definitely going to be on my worst list for sure. So guys, that is my review for Meg to the Trench. I'm going to see Gran Turismo tomorrow. Hopefully that movie is better than this pile of shit. So guys, instead of the question, what do you think of Meg to the Trench? What is your favorite shark movie besides Jaws? I'm going to give you guys a little challenge right here. What is your favorite shark movie besides Jaws? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media links down below. Keep contact with me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel notified for my latest movie reviews and other movie related content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and
have a nice day. The Megalodon.